Hey, get in here. Dallas is about to start.
Welcome to the Ewing Barbecue Podcast, Southfork Experience 2025. This is a mouthful.
Yes.
Episode 5, I believe this is. We have a special guest joining us today that is newly announced for the Southfork Experience August 8th through 10th in Richardson, with the cocktail hour taking place at Southfork Ranch. We had on a couple weeks ago, we had Deb Trinelli, D1, Deb Renard, D2, and just announced Danone Simpson, D3. So welcome.
Hello.
So you're joining us. You're completing the Ewing Oil office managers, I will call you.
Yeah, that's right.
So how did that come about? I know we were trying to push for you to get in there, and it's finally happened.
Yes. Well, it was just a matter of signing up on the paperwork, and we're going to Hawaii, so trying to schedule everything in, and so I finally made it all happen, so I can go, and I'm super excited about it.
And I think you were last at Southfork in, was it 2008 for that big 30th anniversary mess, as it ended up being?
Yeah, 2008, 2009. Yes, one of those years. That was amazing. That was so much fun. I have some good pictures of that.
And that was your first. Was that your first time seeing everybody since it ended, or?
It was, and that was the 30-year reunion. So it had been 30 years, but not everybody went. Deborah did not go to that event. So
no, and I had seen Deb Renard 3 weeks earlier at a dinner for Linda Gray, and I had her information, and I think I slipped it to you at Southfork, and you were like, "Who is this weirdo handing me information?"
That's right.
But
not at all.
All the pieces kind of fell into place, and the three of you have reconnected. And I know you were in Burbank. That must have been fun last year in Burbank at the Hollywood show.
That was really great. It was good to see everybody again. So I was there just having a really good time. So that was what was important, is just meeting everybody and meeting the fans, people that came and said, "Oh, I have this poster. You're the last one to sign it. I have everybody else I wanted to sign it but you." And so, of course, that made me feel good. And so it's amazing for the fans.
And you started off down in the corner right near the replica of the Southfork living room with the jock portrait. And we kind of wiggled you over next to D1 and D2 so that people could get shots of you all together. And what was it like seeing your cast members again after so much time? I mean, Priscilla Presley was there, Jenny Lee, Steve, Christopher Atkins.
Yes,
Jack Scalia.
Yes, Jack. Spent some time with him. Patrick, of course. Miss Larry, but Linda, it was great to see Linda, and then of course, Charlene was super sweet. It was great to see her. I loved listening to the panel when they were talking. I have repeated Linda's story that she told several times about she and Larry ending up in a white limo in a white outfit in a ditch that ended up having chicken poo in it. Oh, it was hysterical on how they walked all the way up this, stairway to get to a little bitty house. They had come from this big event castle. And when they got up there,
still laughing.
Can you imagine? They knocked on the door and people answered it, and they had Dallas, the show, on TV. And this is in some remote country, nowhereville, right? And
talk about life imitating art. I mean, really, it's that I would call that immersive television.
Yes.
You're watching them and they show up at your house. Oh,
in the middle of nowhere. I mean, they were screaming. Linda said they were, "Oh my God, they're here!" Like, can you imagine those? Wow, super fun. That was a good story.
And I remember you and Deb Trinelli were warming up the crowd before, and you had the Dallas theme playing throughout the day, and
yes,
William Keck.
Right. Uh-huh.
William Keck had you play it as everyone was introduced.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the night before all of that, you actually attended the dinner, and Sue
Hmm.
Cabral was there, the makeup
Right.
artist, and
Yes.
Carrie Scott Nair was there.
Hmm.
What was
Hmm.
it like seeing them again? And people like Omri Katz and Josh Harris, who were little kids on the show, and now they're in their 40s.
I know. It's crazy. Well, they were my daughter's age. So at that time, and Brianna used to come on the set all the time with me. So it's really interesting to see them now at this time, and loved it, loved every minute of it. Just to see, the hairdressers and this, wardrobe. It was great. It was great to see everybody. Hmm.
And if I'm correct, you used to have, was it Brianna under your desk sometimes
Yes,
in the
I
on
did.
set?
I did. I did. I took her on the set with me on days that I didn't have anyone to watch her. So, and the director would say, "You can't have a baby on the set." I was like, "I promise she won't say a word." And she was so good. Yes, so I brought her on the set a lot. She was a good girl. Yeah.
And people like yourself and Deb and Deb, you had interesting contractual arrangements so that you were free to go out and take other roles. I know you were on the Dukes of Hazzard at one point, Matt Houston,
Hmm.
some other things. How did that operate? Were you just
We were, I was on the show for 10 years, and it was a reoccurring role. So, we were able to do whatever we wanted to do. Frankly, we could go, although at that time in my life, I really loved the show. Was a perfect job. It was just a perfect job for me at that time. And I looked at it as that. But then, I did a lot of that before Dallas. I was a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. I did films, and print work and commercials, a lot of print work and commercials. Films I stopped doing once I got married to Mark,
Mhm.
because they took you out on location.
And you've been married, what is it, like 44 years, I believe?
44 years.
I,
Yes.
I looked it up. I did my
You
research.
did.
um,
Good job.
how did you get the role? And it seemed like it was interesting because there was really no introduction. Patrick walks in one time off the elevator, and he greeted you like you were always there. Were we just supposed to assume you were always there, but the camera never showed you?
Yeah. I guess, it was when the Who shot JR after that series. Then I think they went from, maybe even one secretary to the three of us. And then Cheryl, of course, came in later for Cliff Barnes. Um,
Right.
and she was there for a while.
And
And
she passed it obviously, and
she did.
was it 95 or so? What do you remember about working with her?
She was fun, just a really fun, sweet girl. She was a lot of
Mm.
fun. We played a lot of games on the set and just chatted, everyone, it was good times, just a lot of waiting, hurry up and wait. Not as much as Dallas's other sets, though. Dallas was very clean, they really filmed quickly. They got their, the work done. They got through the script quickly. We were an 8 to 5 production on the filming part. One of the
And
few.
Cherie was talking recently about the efficiency of Michael Priest when he
Mhm.
directed,
Mhm.
and how she ended up bringing him onto Walker, Texas Ranger, when they were having 21-hour days, and she convinced Chuck Norris to bring him over, and he had it wrapped up for the day in 10 hours.
Yeah,
Obviously, he passed this year.
they sure
What do you
did.
remember about Michael and working with him as a director?
Um, you just needed to be ready. I remember one actor was really stumbling on his lines, and it was hard. It was hard. It was not good. He was patient, but he did definitely want to hit the pace, and he expected everyone to be ready. And of course, Patrick and Larry, they would always do comedy every scene, in the practice shot, um, and then they would go right into character. But I always say, gosh, I wish all that wasn't on the cutting room floor, because if they would have, put that all together, it would have been a comedy of Dallas. So that would have been great. They were really
National
funny. Hmm.
National Lampoon's Dallas, right?
Yes, that's right. Right.
Oh,
It was good.
but what was it? Obviously, most of your work was with Deb and Deb. You kind of became like a trio almost.
Hmm.
They obviously had Patrick and Larry as their, each one worked for one of them.
Hmm.
Could you have seen yourself doing any of the things that Deb Bernard was doing as Sly? Because she had to blackmail Cliff Barnes, and I always wondered if we did like the moving,
Hmm.
rearranging the roles and swapping, could people have been
Hmm.
as effective, or was this more suited to your tastes?
You know, at that point in my life, being a young mom and married, I was settling down on my career a little bit, and so I loved the part. It was so perfect for me at that time. They did work in a few scenes with James, so I went up to Lenny Katzman, who knew my husband. They had filmed together before, on a show, Petrocelli, years before that, and so I went up to Lenny and said, "Hey, Lenny, can you let me know, like, where is this going? Because I don't, I don't want to participate in too many, rowdy scenes." And
Right.
and he was so good, and he just said, "Danon, you're not a typical actress." So he really honored me. And then that day, they changed the whole script where, Patrick was directing that day, and he came in, instead of being in the bed with James, I was at the phone in a full length, um, beautiful nightgown and robe. But so
Very tasteful.
it was very tasteful, and we were like family, so he was very respectful of that. And it's just where I was at that time of my life, and I had a really wonderful career in the business for, gosh, 17 years. And I loved where I was at as a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. I experienced people recognizing you everywhere you went. It was not a private life at all, and so I had decided pretty young that I really wanted to do more print work and commercials, because people would come up and say, "Gosh, you look so familiar," but a lot of
I've
times I
seen
couldn't
you
remember.
somewhere,
I've
but I
seen you
can't figure.
somewhere before. And, so it was fun because I liked to jog in those days, and I liked my freedom. So that's why this business was so perfect for me, because I really enjoyed what I did. I made great money. I was with Wilhelmina Models and William Morris, and it was just, I was able to do whatever I wanted to do, and it was great.
Right, and you mentioned Petrocelli, and that I believe Susan Howard was on there.
Maybe so, because Mark did speak about her, how he thought
Right,
she was just a
and
beautiful woman, and she was, and
yes,
still is today. Yeah.
and then the show obviously ended. And did you leave the business at that point? And which path did you?
After Dallas ended, I went to Wilhelmina and asked them just to take me off the board, because what I found is when I went out on the interviews, I had Brianna with me a lot. And at first, I was very excited, thinking, "Oh, this will be great. I can do this during the day." It was super
Yeah,
fun. It was a great period. I was. I got into more of the fundraising. I had always done fundraising simultaneously, working with nonprofits. So
hmm,
I produced the Calabasas Pumpkin Festival in the second year, and that was a lot. And then from that, I got into the insurance industry, thinking it was advertising. The job was for PR marketing. And so when I got into that, I really wanted to be in a have to have business. And I thought, my gosh, insurance is exactly that. So, and I found it so satisfying. I love it. Now I own my own agency. I work for several firms. And I think because I was so independent as an independent contractor, I didn't really like being an employee. So I would always tell them
Right.
how to manage their companies, So then when I started my own company, my clients begged me to start my own company. And, here we are, 19 years later, doing great.
And doing great work.
Hmm.
And obviously these fan events bring you back into that light a bit. And
Yeah.
what is it like for you to just interact with the fans? I know Deb Bernard said a couple weeks ago that it feels like in this day and age that the line between the celebrities and the fans, it's just blurred, and we're just all one group of people, and it's just
Hmm.
like the Dallas family just coming together for an event.
Hmm. It really is. It's remarkable how some people. One gentleman, I believe he lives in Oklahoma. I I was so impressed by him and amazed. He literally has a whole room that is like a museum, and he has all this artifact in there from Dallas, and that's what this poster. He was the first person that came over to me the very first morning, and it was amazing. He has a collection. He said he has everything, just the game tickets.
Cattlemen's Club, right?
Hmm.
Yes.
Yes, Cattleman's Club. Right, that was
Yep.
it.
David Goodspeed, and
Okay.
he's a listener to the podcast. So David, a little shout out. He will be
Yeah.
there in
Hi, David.
August.
Oh, good.
Um, so coming up in August, August 8th to 10th at South Fork. Not is going to be South Fork is going to have the cocktail hour on Friday night. Um, Saturday, some part of Friday, Saturday and Sunday, there's going to be meet and greets, selfies, autographs with the fans, a Q&A session with William Keck,
Mhm.
the Ewing Barbecue Saturday evening, and the Diamond VIPs are going to have different cast. You'll be seated with different fans that have paid that extra cost, so everyone will have
Okay.
one of you at their table.
Okay.
Um, we are being joined by Patrick, Linda, Steve, Charlene, Jenny Lee, Harrison,
Mhm.
Christopher Atkins will be there.
Okay.
Josh Henderson and Jesse Metcalf from the new series. Barry Corbin is coming.
Okay.
Susan Howard is going to be joining
Oh,
us, which
good.
is a very
Good.
rare. Amy Stock,
Mhm.
um, Andrew Stevens is coming,
Okay.
uh, and they are trying something new this year. They are bringing in, this being the second year, uh, Joyce DeWitt and Priscilla Barnes are joining Jenny Lee Harrison to represent Three's Company,
Oh, fun.
and
Wow.
Joan Van Ark is bringing Michelle Lee and Donna Mills from Knott's Landing.
Okay.
So, and you guest starring on uh, Dukes of Hazzard. It would be nice to see some of the Dukes of Hazzard crew show up sometime.
Yes, it was. I was Daisy Duke. That was fun. I mean, I was in a competition with her. It was kind of funny. It was crazy. But the car, that was a great scene. I really enjoyed that. That was a nice little quick day shoot
Right.
that I enjoyed. Hmm.
Melanie Dubois was your
Melanie
character's name.
Dubois. That's right.
Yes.
Melanie
But
Dubois. Mhm.
so what are you looking forward to about going back down to Texas and just being part of the event and such?
Well, I think if there's a part of you that never really leaves the industry and you always wonder, one day, am I going to get back into that, and do commercials, completely different characters, of course. But, I'm really proud of Charlene and all that she's been doing lately at this time of her life. And, there's always that part of you that thinks about that, but it's really about seeing everyone and just being a part of the experience. It was such an amazing show. And, I just was so proud of being on it and had so much fun for 10 years of my life. That's a long time. That's a long time. So,
Right, it is. And I know Deb Trinelli and Deb Bernard, they both sing. Did you ever sing at all? Or
nope, nope, but I sure dance. I was the dancer. But no, those two are amazing. Their voices were beautiful. And I remember listening to Deborah Renard, practicing a lot for, she was in Camelot Genevieve in Camelot, and I went to see her. It was wonderful, but it was fun just listening to them practice it. And I did get to see them on Facebook the other day. They actually sang together, so I've never seen that before. That was fun. Yeah.
Right. And word has it that the organizer is setting up so that the two of them can do a musical set Saturday night down there
Okay.
at the
Okay.
hotel. So that will be a treat for everybody. I always envisioned, knowing that they sang, that they, after hours, they probably went to some early form of a karaoke bar, Sly and Phyllis, and sang, and you were sitting there throwing peanuts at them or something like that.
Oh,
Deb and Deb were talking a bit about the experiences going to the commissary back in the
yes.
set days, with the
Yes.
curlers in the hair and
Mhm.
just running into all these Little House on the Prairie and all that. Do you have memories of trips to the
Oh,
commissary?
yes. Oh my gosh, yes, because there were aliens. I can't even remember that show, but I remember Captain Hook, with Robin Williams. That set was amazing. So we got to see the big ship being built, and then, you know, all of the characters from that. So, there were pirates at one table, aliens at another table. We were there with curlers in our hair, and it was just remarkable. You never knew what you'd seen in one day. It was so much fun. It was fun always being on the set. Hmm.
And they mentioned a waitress there. I think her name was Madge or something like that. She'd come over and
Right.
she'd be like, "You wouldn't know what you're having." And she goes, "You're having the tuna salad. You're having this. You're having that." And then she'd walk away and she'd be like making the decisions for everybody. But it
Yeah.
must have just been just a fun time on set and just getting to know. Obviously, you all have reconnected.
Hmm.
What does it say about the friendships that were formed on that show 40 something years ago that are now still all these years later?
Hmm. I don't
Did you
know. I
ever
think
think that that would happen?
I did. I did. We stayed in touch thanks to you. You kind of reconnected me with Deborah Renard, and Deborah Trinelli and I always connected. And she came over one day and to my office a few years ago, and that was super fun to see her. And they both live in New York, so I always know if I ever next time go to New York that I would try to look them up and spend time with them, and go to see one of their shows when they're performing. I did see Deborah Renard at one of the restaurants here, and I brought a few of my team here at Montage that works with me, and we went and had a really good night. It was so much fun, and that was great. So, I'm kind of their fans too, friend and
Right.
fan. I'm always proud of them and whatever they're doing in their life. You know, it's it's a
And
good
I
friend.
know that Deb and Al Sapienza, her musical partner, I
Mhm.
think they have a show coming up out there in the fall, out
I saw them.
out your way. So
I'm going to try to
we
go to that too.
might see you in the front row, or
Yeah, that would be great. That would be
oh,
great. It was
yeah.
a
So any messages to the fans that are going to be coming out there?
Oh, I just think you're a part of our team. You're a part of us. And it was amazing to see everybody, even the first time at the 30th reunion when JR flew in on the helicopter, and, to see so many fans, and they were so passionate, especially those from overseas that had come in from different countries. They were not really understanding the lines and the ropes and the protocol, and just kind of came in and invaded everybody. But it was a lot of fun. I think that people were passionate about the show, and Larry Hagman, they loved him and all the drama that we had in those days. It was a very unique show. So being a part of it, it meant a lot, and it still does today. So yeah,
Mm.
I'm super excited. So welcome. We can't wait to see you, and we'll all be there. A lot of people, as in the Hollywood show, there were, gosh, I don't know. Remember how many there were? Were there
Th-
20?
there were 25, and
25?
there were even a couple. There were even a couple in the other room that had appeared on the show very
Mm-hmm.
briefly, like Robert Pine.
Mm.
From Chips played Priscilla Presley's psychiatrist.
Oh, okay.
Melody Anderson was there, and she played Dusty Farlow's wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was some other, so it really bumped up, and the giant cast photo looked like one of those old MGM studio photos with all the actors and actresses together, and it was just quite a turnout, and we're definitely looking forward to this August. Most of it is going to be at the hotel in Richardson, so get your tickets at southforkexperience.com.
Yes.
I know we will have some more of the cast coming on here. Well, Lee McCluskey is going to be at. I keep pulling these names out as they come to me because it's such a growing list that it's hard to remember everybody at the same time. But
Right.
so
Yep,
Danone
if
will
you're
be there with
on out, right?
right. Danone will be there with D1 and D2, and just to clarify for everybody out there because they might not be familiar. How did the D1 and D2 and D3 come about as
Yeah, oh, the
names?
names. I think it was Deborah Trinelli named us because it was Deborah and Deborah, so it was D1 and D2. So then me being Danon, just ended up being D3. But,
And I think she said something about when you all joined the show, maybe in like chronological something or other. But it's a good way to differentiate. And all of you being D's, it's just like a nice little club together too. So
and keeping us together because we were together for that most of that time. There were just periods that I wasn't there when I gave birth to Brianna, but then I came right back, and then I was the only one, which was shocking. And then they came back, which I was super happy about. And so we were together for a long time. So like I said, 10 years you do form those relationships. And I think we do the D3 thing too, because, we want to be together. They were very sad that they didn't go to the 30th reunion. And I didn't know how to get a hold of them at that time. So I expected them to be there. So I think we have this expectation to just remain together. So we've branded ourselves as the D3s.
I feel like the campaign manager. You got to get them there. Got to get them there.
That's right. That's right. I know. Sly, Phyllis, and Kendall. We got
to get you some phones so you can answer them at your tables. Ewing Oil.
Oh yeah, that's right. Click. Someone sent me that one scene that I did, and it was so funny. I was like, oh my gosh, good fun.
And there'll be the brunch also on Sunday, and William Keck obviously doing Q&As, and there will be an auction to benefit the Yellow Rose Gala, which raises money for multiple sclerosis. And Cherie Wilson is a huge part of that, and it's kind of her baby. So come down, get your bids in. I know there's an interesting lamp that was tracked down that used to belong to Larry and Mai.
Oh, okay.
So that's going up for auction, among other things. Get down there, support the cause, get your tickets, come say hi to everybody, and we will see you down at if you're a Diamond VIP, we'll see you at Southfork. They will be running tours that weekend too. So next year they hope to be back at Southfork because they're doing renovations this year. So it's at the hotel in Richardson. We'll all be in the same building. It'll be like summer camp. In the summer, with air conditioning. So
yes, in the heat of August.
In the heat of August, exactly.
Yes, in the heat of August.
So we will see you there, and thank you for tuning into this episode of the Ewing Barbecue Podcast.
All right.
I'll come back now. You hear.